we're not done with Mr. Gates just yet. As a matter of fact, we've only just started. What else is he up to? He is heavily into buying shares and thus influence in big companies such as Apple, Twitter, Alphabet, Amazon, and Alibaba. Companies that have massive influence in the area of tracking apps, global surveillance, facial recognition, and spyware. His part in Alphabet and Twitter explains the absurd level of censorship we encounter when posting or searching for anything controversial about vaccinations and currently COVID-19. Own the internet and you own the public opinion. Amazon has been under fire for having the exact same weirdness on their website as Wayfair. In case you missed the Wayfair scandal, here's what happened. Researchers found this in their pursuit of child traffickers. Ridiculously high prices for average products. Upon investigation, the names of these products turned out to correspond with missing children. Coincidence? Absolutely, according to the fact-checkers. But they connected the products to the wrong children. Any other leads? Yes. Remember this sofa with this weird price? Well, guess what? These numbers are the actual coordinates of Epstein Island. Little St. James, Pedo Island, Orgy Island, it goes by many names. And look at the name of the sofa. She was the consort of convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. She is now in custody and singing like a canary, meaning she has given the investigators a list with a lot of names belonging to the people who joined her on the Lolita Express, Epstein's private jet, to visit Little St. James, where they collectively raped and murdered children, according to whistleblowers. Among those names are Hollywood stars. Top-level officials. Politicians. Members of the royal families. And Bill Gates. So, fact-checkers, maybe the conspiracy theory about Gates buying shares of companies that are deeply into child trafficking or human trafficking in general is not so far-fetched as you might think. I mean, it is easy to debunk a theory, but can you debunk facts? Ridiculously high prices of some products, and names that correspond with missing children. Fact. A sofa's price identical to Epstein Island's coordinates. Fact. Epstein being a convicted pedophile and child molester. Fact. That's Ova's name, corresponding with Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's madam and handler. Fact. Ghislaine Maxwell now in jail, where she provided the investigative authorities with a blacklist. Fact. A blacklist with hundreds of names of members of the elite. Fact. Hidden meaning of the name Wayfair. Wave plus fair. Fact. Bill Gates on the passenger list of Epstein's private plane. Fact. Bill Gates denying being a friend or business associate of Epstein. Fact.
Gates says, no relationship, nada, nothing. You report these two men met at least 6 times. What does Gates say about that?
Well, I believe that there were more, and he and his spokespeople would not say how many in total they actually met. But this included visits to the mansion, seeing each other in Seattle, flying on Epstein's plane, when we all know Bill Gates has his own $40 million plane. And then, as an investigative reporter, why would Gates say, oh, I had no relationship with him, when, of course, he knows what the facts are? So that always sets off red flags for me.
He also has one of the largest, most established foundations on his own.
Yes.
Why would they ever set up a charitable trust benefiting Jeffrey Epstein?
Well,
what's the explanation?
Not only does he have the world's largest charitable foundation, but one of their primary missions is to help young women in underprivileged countries. Jeffrey Epstein was preying on young women from Eastern Europe, from South Africa, luring them into his web. And it's the antithesis of what the Gates Foundation stands for. And by the way, there were Gates Foundation employees who were horrified when they realized what Jeffrey Epstein had done and was saying, we don't want to have anything to do with this, and yet the project went on.
And what is the Gates explanation for this?
That it was all about philanthropy, that Bill Gates just wanted to find new sources of money.
Not very smart, Bill. The evidence is there. It will not go away. Gates and Epstein met on several occasions to discuss philanthropy issues. Let me guess. I'll bet they wanted to do more to protect little girls and young women, right? If this is ever brought before a judge, Gates will be found guilty and spend the rest of his days in Guantanamo Bay. That is, if he doesn't get the death penalty. Back to the internet, and back to Gates' huge investments in companies such as Amazon, that has been under investigation ever since the Wayfair scandal. Amazon is notorious for its censorship of books and documentaries about child trafficking and pedophilia. They do sell this kind of items, though. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, maybe not when you realize that upon further investigation, we discovered that Amazon has the exact same interesting price-quality ratio for some products as Wayfair. And for our Dutch viewers, so does bol.com. Maybe it's time for the investigative units into child trafficking to investigate bol.com too? Oh, and Alibaba? Adrenochrome. Pages full of adrenochrome. Remember the highly adrenalized blood of children caused by severe trauma? The special wine that gives you eternal life? Please watch the previous series Fall of the CABAL if you haven't just yet. Adrenochrome is connected to Pizzagate, child trafficking, sacrificial abuse, and now Alibaba, and thus Bill Gates. Interesting business, Mr. Gates. Or do you still believe he is innocent? Now, of course, when Alibaba, Amazon, Wayfair and bol.com were approached about these strange facts, they all claimed it was nothing but glitches in the software. Doesn't exactly explain this, does it? We could elaborate extensively on this topic, and we will in the near future. But right now, we are focusing on the demise of Bill Gates. But if you wish to do your own research, here are a few hints and tips. Take for instance the rocking chair. We found it by just choosing a department in the main menu. We changed sort by to price high to low. The rocking chair popped up on top of the list. Curious price to say the least. So we copied the article description, pasted it into a new tab and chose images. The same product appeared, sold by a different company. Click and find the normal price. We went back to the Amazon version. What else caught our eye? Ships from and sold by something nobody can pronounce. That's weird. So we typed it into a new tab and found this. We clicked on the top one and got this. The first three, no prices. Number 4? Interesting. Ridiculous price. So once again, we copied the article description, pasted it into a new tab and chose images. The same product appeared, sold by a different company. Click and voila! The normal price. We went back to the Amazon version. What else caught our eye? The name of the manufacturer. Click. Once again, strange names. Click. Etc., etc. This is how it works. You are led from page to page. It works like a puzzle. They use codes and keys in order to lead you to the end product. And by that time, you are asked for your credit card data and more personal information. That's when we stopped. This is for the FBI to dive into. The same happened, by the way, when we searched for adrenochrome. A few months ago, Alibaba simply took you straight to their offers. But when we tried it again, everything had been deleted. No results. But when you simply go through their entire offer, there we are again. This time, however, one word has been added. Semi-carbazone or carbazochrome. Two separate words, so why can't we search for adrenochrome? And why are they used together when they are not the same thing? Weird. We decided to use our old screenshots to see what caught our eye. Low prices for something so extraordinary. Minimum amount to purchase 10 tons? And a possible lead to the suppliers. The suppliers seemed professional, but look, Alibaba. And when we tried to buy the product, we were led straight back to Alibaba's website. Is this because the company only and exclusively sells via Alibaba? We find that hard to imagine. So we searched again. Did we miss something? Well, yes, we did. A bit further down is the supplier without the Alibaba link. But that took us to an entirely different company. Same name, different website, and nothing but an empty shell. A smokescreen. We checked out each and every so-called supplier of Alibaba, and they were all fake. Fake websites, fake addresses, and whatever we clicked, we were led straight back to Alibaba. Shell companies, not shelf. Shell, as in empty. A cover for criminal transactions. A man like Bill Gates knows exactly what he does when he invests millions into these companies. Make no mistake, he is well aware. He didn't visit Epstein's Pedo Island all those times to drink coffee and enjoy the scenery. What else? Gates invested no less than $1.3 billion in Walmart. Now you understand why Walmart has been so extreme in their COVID-19 policy from the start. Walmart, by the way, is a highly controversial business. In 2019, it paid $282 million to settle a 7-year bribery investigation by the US government. Let that marinate for a while. First they bribe Mexican and Chinese officials, then they settle a criminal investigation? Isn't that yet another form of bribery? Oh, and then Mr. Gates invested his $1.3 billion in this company, after which all of a sudden Walmart started showing their concern for the well-being of their customers and for people in general. How wonderful! Just like that, it changed from a criminal organization into a benign philanthropic business that pledged to eradicate the COVID killer virus and keep the world safe. In no time, Walmart was ready, supporting COVID-19 testing and administering vaccines. Wow, in your face! As millions of small and medium businesses went bankrupt due to the COVID hype, Walmart made astronomical profits thanks to Gates' CPR tests, his vaccines, and Walmart's e-commerce that grew 74% in the midst of a pandemic. Oh, and then there's Monsanto, recently bought by Bayer. In 2010, Gates bought 500,000 Monsanto shares worth $23 million. 8 years later, their worth had gone up to 64 million. Monsanto started off producing Agent Orange, a powerful and highly toxic chemical used during the Vietnam War to eliminate forest cover and to destroy crops. Its horrific side effects were all forms of cancer and birth deformities. Monsanto didn't exactly change its evil deeds and became known for its genetically modified seeds and crops, and for its poisonous weed killer Roundup. Bill Gates openly promotes GMOs as the answer to world hunger. In 2018, Monsanto was bought by Bayer, a chemical giant that produces poison. In other words, our food supply is now largely controlled by the producers of carcinogenic poison. Just in case you didn't hear this, let me repeat it. Our food supply is largely controlled by the producers of carcinogenic poison. Carcinogenic means it causes cancer. I wonder how many people think this is normal. And Rob Borsch, Deputy Director of the Agricultural Research and Development Team at the Gates Foundation until his retirement, spent 25 years of his career at Monsanto. Small world, evil players. And what about Gates' love for big pharmaceutical companies such as Bayer, Merck, Pfizer? He bought his way in through shares with millions and millions of dollars. Do you want to know why? So he can push his vaccination and poison fetish down the throat of each and every country in the world while making astronomical profits via his shares in the companies that produce the poison. Do you know how that works? Here's an example. The Gates Foundation gives money to Pfizer, or Merck, or GlaxoSmithKline, or any other big pharma giant in which Gates has a financial interest, in order to develop a new vaccine. Next, the foundation gives money to political lobbyists to create a market for his vaccine. Then, Gates arranges a fixed and way too high price for the vaccine via Gavi, yet another Gates entity. The Gates Foundation and/or any of the involved and co-profiting NGOs such as Global Fund give donations to foreign governments to buy the vaccines. Those governments are obliged to buy the vaccines from the vaccine producer. Think Merck or Pfizer. Global Fund gets their donation back from USAID. And last but not least, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation makes a massive profit and doesn't have to pay a dime of tax. So, who pays for the development and the purchase of the vaccines? That's right, you and me, the taxpayers.
You've invested $10 billion in vaccinations over the last 2 decades, and you figured out the return on investment for that, and it kind of stunned me. Can you walk us through the math?
Over a 20-to-1 return. So if you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number compared to anything else.
I think the numbers that you ran through were if you had put that money into an S&P 500 and reinvested the dividends, you'd come up with something like $17 billion, but you think it's $200 billion.
Here, yeah.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation couldn't care less about the people in less developed countries. All they are interested in is profit. Profit through technology, research and development, GMOs, vaccines, and more poison. None of the above is about the heart. None of it is about true charity out of love for your fellow man. Is Mr. Gates simply obsessed with technology? Or are we dealing with a psychopath?
Within Microsoft, that browser share was a very, very important goal.
Well, you've used several times, the very, very, and I don't know if you're asking specifically about some time where I used the words very, very. Is that the question?
Let's see what he's truly up to, shall we? Let's have a look at the effects of his philanthropy in less developed countries. Join us and bear witness to the trails of destruction this man leaves behind in part 11.